history, as 61 years ago, on October 16th, 1962, that is the date that is widely considered to be when the Cuban Missile Crisis started, a conflict between the United States and Russia which could have led to nuclear war if things had gone even a little bit differently. What we're going to do over the next several days, between the 16th and the 28th exactly, we are going to examine each day during the crisis. We are going to see what happened, and we are going to look at how the DEFCON warning system would have reacted if we had been around at that time. Now that does take a little bit of imagination because most of this information, most of this information is not publicly available, and we didn't have the OS open source intelligence that we have today. We can't see the missiles that the United States saw arriving in Cuba. We didn't have, Twitter and things like that for people in Cuba to say this is what was happening. But we're going to play a game. We're going to pretend that this information was available to us, and we're going to go through the DEFCON levels and see where we would have been during that time of the crisis and how and what reports we would have made to the public as to the DEFCON level for you to be prepared in the event of nuclear war. This series is going to be mainly done by Eric Wasson, Deputy Director of the DEFCON Warning System. And also one of the segments is going to be done by Billy Honor, who is a staff member at the DEFCON Warning System. So, journey with me back 61 years to a time when the United States and Russia were mere hours from nuclear war.
October 16th, 1962. The Cuban Missile Crisis begins as U.S. intelligence agencies reveal evidence of Soviet nuclear missile sites in Cuba, less than 100 miles off the Florida coast. Any missile launched at the east coast of the United States would arrive on target within minutes, leaving insufficient time for the U.S. to react and potentially decapitating the government in Washington, D.C. For the first time since the Cold War began, a surprise first strike from the Soviet Union is now capable of devastating the United States and seriously hampering their ability to launch a retaliatory strike. President Kennedy is briefed on the situation, and the United States moves to DEFCON 3, a heightened state of military readiness for all strategic forces. Now, what is largely unknown about the installation of Soviet missiles in Cuba was that was in response to American Jupiter missiles being deployed to Turkey and Italy. And the Kennedy administration had already known about the Cuban missile sites for months, initially denying their existence. It wasn't until U.S. spy plane photos provided evidence that the situation could no longer be denied. It was at this point that the Cuban Missile Crisis officially began, even though construction of the missile sites on the island had been underway for some time. And as you know, this is the first episode in a series of fundraising videos in which the DEFCON Warning System is attempting to switch its revenue stream from web-based advertising to donations from our followers. The goal is not only to eliminate ads from our website, but also to increase the reliability and speed of our website during crisis situations, as well as improve our desktop and Android notification apps. If you have $1 or $2 to spare and you would like to make a contribution,